Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, how are you? This is Jay Fallon, and this is The Slippery Slope. So I want to talk a bit about, actually, I'm not going to talk so much. We're going to listen and watch this report that came out on Sky, and it was talking about Julie Iman Grant from the eSafety. She's our eSafety commissioner that Australia, thanks to the Australian government from a few years ago for dreaming this little branch of the government up and then placing Julie in charge. But we're going to have a listen to this report from Sky News and just see exactly what she has been up to, not just herself. This is, if we had spoken about this a year or two ago, it'd be like, wow, conspiracy theories, what he's doing. But look at it in this context. For one, we all believe, or I believe, the world is going towards a one world government. I believe what the Bible says, and it describes a system, a global system, which I would refer to, and a lot of people do, as the beast system, where you're going to have a very small amount of people basically running the world. And basically, it's going to be run in reality, you're going to have one person at the top. So you're going to have this system in place that's going to have complete control over. It's going to force complete control. If you look at it, what the Bible says in Revelation 13, it says in verse 16, He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You look at that, this is a system that is described that is coming, and this global tyranny, and this system that exerts complete control, so much control that you cannot even buy anything. You cannot sell anything. You can't. Bartering is going to be completely outlawed, I believe. So they're going to be, it'll probably be, the death penalty if you do go and barter and this kind of thing. But you can see all of all the tools being put into place. Everything that's needed for this system is being implemented now. It's being put into place right now. And so think about that as we listen and watch this video that came out on Sky News discussing Australia's eSafety Commissioner and how she has been working with an agency in America to shut down free speech. Let's check it out. I'm going to try. I'm not going to stop the video. I just want to let it all play.
This week, it's all about a devastating report that has just dropped out of Washington, D.C., with extraordinary new information about the Australian government's effort to censor what you can say and do and think online, and specifically the alleged links between this woman, Julie Inman Grant, Australia's eSafety Commissioner, as she is officially known, or as we call her on Outsiders, the E-Karen, and a shadowy U.S.-based online advertising cabal, which a U.S. House Judiciary Committee interim report says set out to throttle advertising dollars from websites and social media platforms, particularly Elon Musk's Twitter, that dared to allow free speech and conservative ideas to flourish. Now, this cabal was known as the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, or GARM, and they wanted to starve anyone who platformed conservative thought, libertarian thought, and anything that questioned the narrative on topics ranging from COVID to mass migration to all sorts of other things, and drive them out of business. So, Julie Inman Grant, well, Where does she come in? She needs no introduction. She is a very connected woman, born in America, who, for whatever reason, happens to have moved to Australia about 20 or so years ago. Although, unlike some of us, she didn't bring with her a robust commitment to the values of free speech and liberty that some of us others Americans who came to Australia did. Just, in fact, the opposite. Instead, in her role as the eSafety Commissioner, or the E-Karen, and by the way, thanks to Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull, and former member for Bradfield, Paul Fletcher, for creating this office, she has used the excuse of hate speech and phrases like online harm to try to force the Australian government to censor what can and cannot be said online. Now, in the past, she has tried to do everything from block footage of a local Sydney Maronite bishop when he was being stabbed by a crazed attacker in the pulpit. Well, she tried to keep that from being online. She also whipped up a phony fear during the Voice campaign that Indigenous Australians would be abused online. And many people saw that as a specious attempt to crack down on Novo messaging. Oh, and of course, Julian McGrath has generally been a busy little bee trying to get platforms to take down anything she doesn't like through quote-unquote informal notices, including one trying to shut down Celine Baumgarten's post about whether or not a queer club at a Melbourne primary school was really such a hot idea. And you'll remember we had Celine Against the Machine, as she likes to call herself, on this program just a few months ago. Well, now, where are we today? Thanks to this congressional report from the House Judiciary Committee, we have learned more about Inman Grant's activities, including her communications with the head of this advertising cartel I mentioned before, the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, or GARM, which I can report has happily been shut down, but which, according to DailyWire.com, quote, used its control of the global advertising spending to bankrupt conservative publishers, was working with regulators in Europe and Australia to force Twitter, now X, to fall in line with its censorship demands, unquote. Shocking stuff. And the House Judiciary Committee report is pretty damning. Among other things, it found that, quote, GARM colluded with both advertisers and foreign regulators to pressure Twitter to comply with GARM's demands. The report went on, quote, in Australia, and here's where it gets interesting, in Australia, eSafety Commissioner Julian McGrath relied on GARM to inform her engagement and regulatory decisions, highlighting GARM's significant collective power in helping to hold the platforms to account. And then there was this again from the report, quote, in another message on an email thread, which I'll get to in a moment, GARM initiative lead and co-founder Robert Rakowitz stated that silencing President Trump was, quote, the main thing, likening the president's rhetoric to a contagion that must be contained, quote, to protect infection overall. Now, the strategy here, we can start to see it take shape. The strategy was to stifle Americans' ability, and remember, Americans have that precious First Amendment right, which we don't have in Australia. And the idea was to use platforms like Twitter or X, stop them from using them freely by using foreign governments, not American ones, to regulate their use globally, including the way they could be used inside the U.S. You see how this works? Now, helpfully, this House Judiciary report, it brings receipts. It contains an entire annex of threads of emails between GARM chief Rob Rakowitz and our own Julian McGrath, who reached out to GARM shortly after Elon Musk acquired Twitter. She reached out to Rakowitz and said, I believe GARM, this is Julian McGrath talking, has significant collective power in helping to hold the platforms to account, which of course is code for they can regulate and restrict free speech. Rakowitz wrote back, so lovely to hear from you. I am sharing documents in confidence about a, quote, major ongoing intervention, unquote, and adding, quote, it would be great to line up together around a shared agenda. Well, there you go. That is the agenda of throttling free speech, the agenda of stopping Donald Trump, the agenda of keeping people from being able to use Twitter the way Elon Musk wanted them to, i.e., freely. Then all of this goes on. In a further email, Rakowicz reveals what this is really about, what the report mentioned before. And in it, this is the smoking gun. Rakowicz writes to Inman Grant, my main thing is I need to see Trump effectively sidelined because I am afraid the contagion is too widespread to protect infection overall. Well, there it is, folks, in black and white. And I tell you what this is all about and why this is so important. Shadowy officials and quote-unquote non-government initiatives in the U.S. funded by who knows whom, using things that sound really lovely like online safety and protection from harms to interfere with the political process. That is to shut down anything that may be harmful to the accepted left liberal narratives on Trump, climate, immigration, or whatever. And this really was trying to get people not to be able to say what they want to and share news about Trump. And the scary thing is, this report suggests that there may have been an Australian part of this headed by an American-born woman and created by a supposedly liberal center-right government to do it. Now, I tell you what, that is an explosive truth bomb.
It is amazing listening to this report coming out, and you think a few years ago, if you were talking about this and you put this kind of this theory out there and said this is what you thought, or you provided evidence, it would still be thrown back saying these mad, crazy conspiracy theorists. There's no way this could ever happen. And yet, time and time again, these kinds of acts of collusion are consistently found to be fact. And it amazes me that Julie Grant is able to get away with this. She is this shadowy bureaucrat with so much power and colluding with this other enterprise from America to be able to hold back free speech, to possibly or attempting to hold back voting the way government is formed in America. That's what it seems like. She not wanting or wanting to be able to influence the American election like that. Who do these people think they are? And this is the problem. Who do they think they are? They think they are the people in charge because in actual fact, they've been given the power. We keep having elections and doing these kinds of things, but it's all these shadowy bureaucrats that actually have the power. Someone like this, why is she even allowed to continue? Why do we even need this commission? Someone else has decided, yep, we have our elections. We decide who's going to be the government, the government of the time, the prime minister, all this kind of stuff. But we need a power in the background that we can consistently collude with. We can consistently influence. And this is what they came up with. This is what I think it is. They've come up with the eSafety Commission. And you look at it, all these little commissions, not little, sorry, but these commissions, all these kind of bureaucratic nonsense have all been formed all around the Western world. They've all taken a hold of this and all decided, yep, in Canada, in Europe, it's happened everywhere. They brought up these commissions to try and stifle free speech. When people come along and say, well, it's for your safety, you. Like I said before, when someone says, "Oh, this is for your safety," we're just looking at for your health, for your safety, I always like they're saying, "Look over here, I'll look behind you," because you know very well that something's going to crack you in the back of the head any second. But getting back to my main point at the start of the video, the Bible describes a system that has complete control, tyranny in the world. And everything's being put into place now. You've got these people I mean, they've reported about this, but this has been going on for years. They're reporting about this, and this is what she's been up to. This working with this cabal. Everyone's colluding, trying to influence elections, trying to influence governments, actually influence governments, trying to stop free speech. This has been going on for years, but there is going to come a time, because this is what the Bible says, where there is going to be a one world government. And you look at all the turmoil that's happening in the rest of the world, in Australia as well, all the turmoil, eventually there's going to be someone standing up and saying, well, I can fix it all. I've got all the answers. I've got a big plan. And then everyone's going to end up going along with it. This plan of tyranny. But the seeds, everything's being put into place. And she is just a pawn who's being used to put all the pieces into place for this coming beast system government, tyrannical government. This is my opinion. I think this is where we're going. Please let me know what you think. Keep watching what's coming up, and don't let your guard down when it comes to these kinds of bureaucratic thugs that are out there trying to rule, trying to control. That's all my opinion. My name is Jay Fallon. Please like and share, and check out my music and that if you can, get a choice. Thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna